Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Adriana Shukla, and I'll be your host today. I am joined by John Piekos from Snowplow. And today we're going to be talking about real-time data. When does speed matter most? I'd love to have John introduce himself, but before he does that, just a few housekeeping items. The recording will be available after this for you to download and listen to as you wish. Should you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us and we'd be happy to answer any of those. John, I hand it over to you. Do you mind introducing yourself for us?
Hey, Adriana. So my name is John Piekos. I'm the SVP of Engineering for Snowplow. So I've been leading engineering teams, building scalable, low latency, high performance data stores, databases, and basically analytic infrastructure for the past 2 decades. It's really no surprise that I'm at Snowplow. The Snowplow platform offers an intersection between analytical processing and low latency behavioral event collection. So it's technology that I've been working with for pretty much most of my career.
That's awesome. Yeah, and we're lucky to have you here. Can you give a little bit of overview for anybody that doesn't know what Snowplow offers? Can you give a little overview of what the products are that Snowplow offers?
Sure thing. So Snowplow provides what we call customer data infrastructure, or CDI. This is a pipeline, it's a platform, it's infrastructure that allows our customers to perform customizable and scalable data collection. So what does that mean, really? Well, customers can define and track rich, granular, first-party and zero-party behavioral data. They can collect from any source, including web, mobile, server-side, video, and even AI agents, a new emerging paradigm. So if you're using like a mobile app, say like Strava, you're a runner or a cyclist like me, or you're playing a mobile game, Clash of Clans by Supercell, perhaps, or you're a traveler and you're browsing articles on Condé Nast Traveler, then there's a really good chance that those interactions, your interactions on those platforms, are being captured by the Snowplow pipeline. Now, Snowplow can be deployed as a fully hosted SaaS solution, or to address concerns like data locality and GDPR, always a concern, data privacy, and where the data resides. We can deploy single tenant infrastructure, CDI infrastructure, in your own cloud account. And the cloud account can be AWS, GCP, or Azure. And we're collecting upwards of 1 trillion events per month for our customer set. So this is really event collection at scale and at low latency as well.
Yeah, and I know our customers are always collecting a large amount of events per day, per month, and it's really, to make sure that they can scale appropriately. So, with that being said, we're here to talk about real time, right? And that means different things to different people. Can you tell me how you define real time and what does that look like?
Yeah, hit me with a hard question right away. We'll jump into it, right? So real time means something different to different people. And, I found, dictionary.com has a great definition. I'll read it briefly. Of or relating to applications in which the computer must respond as rapidly as required by the user or necessitated by the process being controlled. So I think the key part of that is as rapidly as required by the user or the process, the application. That's why it means something different to different applications, different people.
Right.
So if I like to look at units of time and see how that might be relating to real-time processing. Let's start really small, like a microsecond. That's a millionth of a second. You might not think that's meaningful, but if you're on a Wall Street trader, high frequency trading, then microseconds matter. You need to get your trade in ahead of the competition to make money. These applications really work hard at eliminating any unnecessary processing, networking, disk access, both really costly in terms of latency or in real time. Now let's get a little slower here and talk about milliseconds. They're a thousandth of a second. Still sounds really fast, and it is. If you're a digital ad network or you're building a self-driving car, then you're thinking in milliseconds. Every millisecond matters. By way of comparison, when you blink, the human eye blink is about 100 to 400 milliseconds. So just under a half a second. So when you're talking milliseconds, it's really fast. So 10 milliseconds is for a self-driving car, you need to make a decision in 10 milliseconds whether to stop or avoid an obstacle. So that's really almost a closed system, or you're eliminating the networks. You're really locking down every bit of processing power. Next up, as seconds. So we're still in the realm of real time with seconds here, but we're in the realm of maybe near real time. So when you're talking seconds or sub-minute processing time, that's typically, it's more than enough for applications that are computing analytics on event streams. Some people might call it real-time analytics. We do. Alerting applications are another example. And applications that derive decisions in real time being human reaction time rather than machine time. We're not talking cars here. So seconds are typically the unit of measure for Snowplow applications. Applications need to act on a decision while the user's still on a page. We're tracking behavior on a page. Or in a session, like a game session, you want to react in seconds to the behavior you're witnessing on those platforms. Now, when we get to minutes, that might seem like a real long time for real-time applications. But consider when you get it's Christmas season right now, and you get packages delivered, and within minutes you're getting an alert that the package arrived. It feels pretty real time. It just happened. But you're in that realm of near real time, I guess, in that case. And finally, if you're talking hours or days, you're not really venturing to real time. But if you were getting your like my electric bill comes monthly, right? Now I'm going to soon be able to see it, within a day of my usage. That certainly speeds up the time, and it's fine to know things on a daily basis, but you're not really talking real time at that case. So
yeah, and in real time, that once again, like real time is different for different people, and some companies have applications that they're looking at it from a historical nature, and sometimes they're looking at it from a real time nature, as we call it. So can you explain that a little bit further? Like, what is the appropriate time expectation for a Snowplow like real time application, and what are the different categories?
Yeah, you bring up a good point. Historical versus real time. Now, Snowplow can deliver events in seconds to its destination, and we see a lot of people. However, we see a lot of people computing historical or backwards-facing analytics on it. They're feeding the data to machine learning models. They're building reporting and analytics on things that happened, today, yesterday, last month, last year. And they can do those pretty quickly, but you're looking backwards. How many users were on my website or mobile app the last year, the last quarter? How does that compare? Snowplow has great tooling and modeling that can make these building these apps very easy, and they're hard to do on other platforms. But since we're talking about real time, we want to react in the moment to the data that comes in. Historically, the data can be batched up, and you feed it to your model, and you compute it, over a period of time. You train your model. But in real time, you got to act in the moment. So when we talk about real time with Snowplow, there's really two types of real time applications. There's real time analytics, which is I think the simpler of the two cases. It's like what's happening now. Who are the websites? Who are the users on my websites right now within the last few minutes? It's important to be accurate to that time frame that's happening right now. You're not looking, months or hours back.
Right.
A lot of our users, a lot of our customers have real-time analytic applications, and like I said, Snowplow makes those pretty easy to build. A more complex scenario is looking at the events as they come in and reacting to them. So it's real-time decisioning. Real-time decisioning is very powerful in that you can create hyper-personalized actions on a per-user basis. The next best action for the engagement with the user, perhaps you're personalizing an offer. An offer for me might be different than an offer for you, Adriana, when you're interacting with one of these platforms. It could, if you're browsing a Condé Nast, for example, the next page recommended for you might be different based on your browsing history than what I'm looking at. I'll be going to the Caribbean next month, so you need to make those personalized decisions in a very timely manner. You can't make a decision after the person's left the platform, after the session's over, after they've gone home for the day. You got to make it in the moment. And the moment is the session life, minutes, seconds, while you've got the person on the platform.
Yeah. And I know that, in packaged solutions, or take Google Analytics for instance.
Right.
I get the most frustrated when it's even a 24-hour lag or 48-hour lag from that data. And sometimes for our SDRs, we want them to be actioning on things within the minute, within a few minutes. So having that data as real time as possible is something that I always am looking at as well. But that being said, there's a difference between batch and streaming. Can you explain what that means and how does it relate to real time?
Yeah, that's a good point. And just to jump back to the platforms like Google Analytics, they're
Mhm.
holding their data, so it takes time for you to get the data out. It's not only time; it's costly to pull that data out and then react on it. And it's might be yesterday's data. Whereas with Snowplow, the data is within your environment and readily available for you. So when we talk about batch and streaming, um, if you're doing historical analytics, you might want to batch up the data and grab all of yesterday's data and process it today and sort of deliver it in one chunk. Either it's a time window or a batch size. And it's less resource intensive. You can data transfer the network costs or just doing it at that one time. You're not reacting to the data instantly. You're looking at it historically.
Mhm.
So it's okay to have a higher latency and a slower delivery to the destination. Streaming is a bit different because you want to keep data pushed to the destination when it arrives. You're not waiting to batch it up. You're delivering in individual items or in small batches of microseconds of or milliseconds of data to the destination. So you want the data getting to the destination and harvesting it as soon as possible. I would add here that for real-time applications, the value of an individual event is very valuable.
Mm.
The moment it's created, and as the older that event gets, the less valuable that individual event is, and the more valuable the aggregate of all the events are. So if I'm looking at clustering user journeys on a website, I want to look at many users over a period of time to find the patterns. But if I'm going to react to a personalized offer for you, let's say on a website, I'm looking at your individual behaviors right now and in the moment. And
Mhm.
that's when it's the most valuable, so that I can make the best offer to you or the best recommendation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And in order to really act on, say, product recommendations or content recommendations or things of that nature, it really needs to be within the second, so that
Yes.
people are seeing those real time. So
Yep.
how does Snowplow help with real time processing? What is Snowplow's secret sauce per se that
Sure.
it's
Yeah.
really getting this to happen in real time?
So, well, first of all, Snowplow pipeline is very scalable. Um, we, as I mentioned earlier, we capture and process billions of events a day, upwards of 1 trillion a month, and we have like 4 nines uptime, so 99.99% uptime. So the pipeline has to stay up in order to deliver events. So if you're not scalable, if you're not able to handle bursty traffic, you know, there's different behavior patterns, holiday shopping, Black Friday, events that individual customers have. We have to capture those in as they happen.
Mhm.
Latency doesn't matter if if your infrastructure goes down. Snowplow stays up. Like I said, 99.99%. Um, so that we have a really good foundation there, tailored and optimized for each customer's event volumes. Um, so in terms of secret sauce beyond that, there's a couple things. There's 3 ways that people build real-time applications on Snowplow. Um, the first, and it's delivering it to a data warehouse or data lake or lake house. It's capturing is filtering out events and delivering them in real time to downstream SaaS systems to
Mhm.
activate the users. And then finally, you can also, sort of drink from the fire hose and tap right into the event stream. Now, jumping into the loaders or the delivering it to the destinations, the warehouses, we have a couple of key low latency loaders that'll take Snowplow events and deliver them to cloud-based object stores or the more popular data warehouses like Snowflake and Databricks. The streaming loaders, the lake loaders deliver to the data lake, and
Mhm.
that's like a S3 or a Google Cloud Storage or Azure's data lake storage Gen 2. Those can deliver the data in roughly 5-minute increments. So you're talking minutes, under 5 minutes, to a cloud object store. For delivering to Snowflake or Databricks or BigQuery, we have streaming loaders, and these take advantage of streaming APIs in those platforms. So they're purpose-built, tailored to those targets. It isn't one size fits all. We need to optimize delivery as fast as possible to those. So we've got a Snowflake streaming loader and a BigQuery streaming loader that uses streaming API. And we use Databricks structured streaming capabilities to deliver to Databricks. Those streaming loaders have about a 5-second latency to deliver events to the warehouse. So you get your choice: 5 seconds to the data warehouses, or within 5 minutes, you sort of do bulk loading the into the data lakes, the object stores. So that's the probably the majority use cases, delivering it to an analytics or a lake house, an analytics database or a lake house. The second case that I mentioned was filtering events to downstream SaaS tools. So Snowplow offers a low latency event streaming service we call SnowBridge. So it bridges to these SaaS tools. Skipping the destination, you can filter events out and deliver them to activate based on particular behavioral events that you want to forward to a downstream system. Their latency there is ultimately determined by the target that you're delivering to. Google Tag Manager, for instance, how much is provisioned downstream. But we will deliver it as fast as we can to that downstream pipe. And finally, if you want to just drink from the fire hose, you can tap into the internal stream that Snowplow has. Like, it'll be like Kinesis on AWS or PubSub on Google, and you can drink from the fire hose, as I said, and grab the raw events right out of that. So you've got your choice. The most common is delivering it to a lake house or a data warehouse for processing with one of the streaming loaders.
Yeah. And, I do know that we have some customers that are doing, some applications that they would call, real time in seconds, and it's really making a big difference. What type of real time applications do you know of off the top of your head that Snowplow customers are creating? Any off the top of your head?
Yeah, real time analytics is really the first case we see in the majority of our customers doing. It's, like I said, it's pretty easy to do. And it's hard to do in some of the other platforms like Google Analytics. But beyond that, we see a lot of personalization and recommendations. And Snowplow is perfect for that. We call it next best action. So you're suggesting a next action based on some heuristics that you have, maybe your historical machine learning models, your churn scores that you've generated for your customers, or propensities. And so you want to make that offer, free shipping, in-game offer, things like that. So that's really, typically people start out with a real-time analytics. They're surprised they can get that, and then they go to the next, capturing value and hyper-personalization.
Well, now what about like AI and things of that nature? So many people are trying to incorporate machine learning and AI use cases. How does Snowplow's real-time processing help drive those use cases in particular?
Yeah, we're really excited about AI and agentic systems. So we look at AI and agentic systems as a group of collectively agents collaborating with each other to accomplish something. Today, you see it as perhaps a chatbot on websites, which is great. I think there's an incredible future that's going to evolve to be fairly sophisticated, but it all starts with knowing what's going on in the moment with that user, tailored experience. The chatbots we see today are searching knowledge bases, are making a product recommendation from a question. But imagine a personal shopper. You're on a website, and it knows your history, it knows what you've been browsing, what's current now, not what you bought 3 months ago, what you're looking at today, and making recommendations, particularly for you, not just for everyone like you. So we're really excited to see the behavioral data fueling those next generation applications. I think we're going to see a paradigm shift on the online experience as a result, and it starts with behavioral data. It's fresh, it's just created, and you're going to react. The LLM's going to take that, and it's going to drive a new experience. So as you can tell, I'm very excited about it. So stay tuned. There'll be more of these conversations. You'll see some really cool stuff coming.
Yeah, and we're really excited for that. And I'm always looking for the next new thing that's popping up. So we'll keep you all stay in tune with everything that's going on. But if somebody wanted to stay in tune and maybe try out and build a real time snowplow application, where would you suggest they start to get their hands on something?
Yeah, like everyone says, go to the website, but we have a community edition. You can download it, and you don't have to talk to anyone if you don't want. If you're a developer and you just want to, kick the tires, it's free to use in development and QA environments, and you'll get a feel for how it works. Um, Once you're capturing events, I say grab one of the loaders, grab the streaming loader, and push to Snowflake or BigQuery, and start experiencing that low latency event delivery. Of course, if you need help, reach out to us. We're always happy to help. We've got just ask for a demo and we can help you get started. So we're pretty excited, and when you start building, let us know. We're thrilled to hear how successful you are with it.
Yeah, I know we really truly, want to be a partner. So if you're building some kind of application out there, we're happy to help, even if it's just on a consulting basis. We have a large amount of technical folks on our teams to be able to help you and assist in the
Yep.
building of your application. So, well, that being said, thank you for all this information, John. I'm sure our audience really appreciates it, and I appreciate you for being here today.
Thank
So
you.
thank you
Happy
so
to
much.
be here.
On that note, thank you everybody for watching today. We'll be stay tuned for more information, and we'll be in touch with more information about real-time use cases. I hope everybody has a wonderful day, and I hope to see you guys soon.